I see my time is up.
Mr. Bishop.
Thank you very much, Chairman Carter, Ranking Member Wasserman Schultz. Let me thank you for the opportunity to participate in today's hearing. Warm welcome to each of our esteemed witnesses, and I express my gratitude for your service to our nation. Your testimony is invaluable for the decision-making that we have to do in safeguarding the welfare of our soldiers and their families and our national security. Although a question may be directed to one of you, I welcome input from all of you with respect to the questions that I ask if you would like to comment. Last year, Congress worked with the Quality of Life panel to approve and authorize a well-deserved pay increase for the service members, specifically the junior service members. But it seems that we failed to adequately review the resources that the service members use for essential services such as child care and food programs. The pay increase moved these service members into higher pay bands, specifically for child care, and it made them ineligible for SNAP or WIC programs, essentially canceling out the good intentions of the pay increase. Sergeant Major Ruiz, how are you tracking throughout your respective service the second and third order effects of the pay raise, considering that the service is provided based on household income? I'm most interested in child care and food assistance programs.
Congressman, thank you for that question. So April 1st was the first time that young Devil Dogs got a little extra on their paycheck, and greatly appreciate that. They appreciate you for pushing that so hard. What I would say is that we're watching it closely. Initially, via the numbers, the data tells us that without any change, maybe another spousal, different kind of employment, or they get promoted again, today they would not climb no more than one bracket up towards the child care fees. That's what I have so far, sir, but as I watch this closely, I'll come back to you to see if those unintended consequences are more severe than climbing up one more. I would imagine that for E6s and above, the pay raise for them, just their annual increase, will likely jump them a little more because the pay increase is a little more substantial. So, but I'll keep an eye on that, sir, and then I'll give it to my teammates to see if anyone else has anything else.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Congressman. I would like to also add, we have the ability at the installation level to adjust those fees if there's a need. So while we're not terribly concerned with the potential to increase one bracket, it looks like it's a small number per month, under $50 per family. So it should not completely negate a pay increase. But if a family member, a service member and their family demonstrates a financial need through their chain of command, the local installation level command can adjust those fees. They have that authority to offset any financial crisis that may exist in some acute situation locally.
Yeah, we worry about the stigma or the reluctance of a member to actually approach the command with that. Let me shift gears for a moment, address this to first Sergeant Major Weimer. In your testimony last year, you stated that not receiving predictable federal funding and pay because of continuing resolutions exacerbates ongoing issues, end of quote. Add on top of this the uncertainty within the federal workforce that often places organizations that provide critical care for our service members and their families. What's the impact in care, funding, or services in support of our military families and their families in light of the CR and the federal workforce cuts? And do you anticipate, or how are you working to mitigate the additional burden on service members and their families because of a workforce drawdown? And are there any barracks, housing, child care centers, or other projects that provide specific care to our families that will be placed on hold or delayed due to a CR, the CR? And each of you can address that if you can.
Congressman, thank you for that, and it's good to see you, and sorry we couldn't get our schedules to marry up here in the last couple weeks. So first off, I definitely have to say thank you for the 12-month CR is a little bit new territory for us, but we're grateful for some of the New Start reprogramming, some of the above threshold authority, but it is new territory for us. I don't know exactly how it's going to affect everything. We're not firing up star clusters right now on current projects. As far as some of the quality of life piece on the employee side, we're happy to report that our NAF employees have all been granted exceptions, and so we're hiring CDC employees. We've covered most of our medical folks. We do have some folks in our holistic health and fitness that we're sharing all our lessons learned with our Marine Corps teammates. We do have some freeze on some of our nutritionists and physical therapists, and so we're kind of in a hold. But we've been able to work well with OSD right now on the exceptions to get those people in there. I would say first and foremost, anything that affects quality of life has been one of the things we've been asking for a waiver for first. Our Director of Public Works, DPW, as you've heard us talk about it numerous times, we're short quite a few people there, and that is currently frozen. So that's another one that we're trying to understand how that affects our infrastructure and quality of life.
Sir?
Congressman Bishop, similarly, the Sergeant Major of the Army stated, majority of our quality of life employees are non-appropriated fund employees, and we're not having any issues with hiring or losing any of those employees, and it is not going to have any effect on any of those programs. Now, the loss of FY25 budget and CR, that did have a lot of effects on us. That's going to be, we're not putting shovels in the ground to build new barracks. We're not putting shovels in the ground to build new CDCs. All those things that, as Chairman Carter mentioned at the beginning, that y'all did the hard work for in appropriations in setting us that money. We're not getting any of that work done this year. And so hopefully we'll find good money in 26 to get after all those projects.
Congressman, for the Corps, I think I'll start with 6 years ago, Commandant Berger started the division of Force Design 2030. So 6 years ago, we started the process of getting really light already and getting after the platforms and things and the formations that we think are going to be needed for the future fight. And so that included our civilian infrastructure. So we're going to watch it closely. Yes, it affects, although I was able to hire a little over 200 barracks managers, I won't be able to hire additional ones anytime soon, and that's critical to maintaining the barracks that I have been able to refurbish, and the ones that are hanging on by a thin thread, I won't have that. So a Marine is instead in place, getting after the maintenance of a barracks instead of doing what they were assigned to do. I think in the recruiting in the accession pipeline, I would be concerned if the civilians that are assisting in the MEPS, in the processing of a young civilian into a Marine or any service members, if they're not there, I'm afraid that it would slow it down, the throughput, and the momentum that we gained in the last couple of years will be greatly reduced. So hopefully we get after those exceptions there.
Thank you, Congressman. The year-long, I'll echo the Sergeant Major of the Army. We're thankful for a year-long CR, I guess, only to a government shutdown. So it's not a great option, but it's better than shutting down. So we're thankful that we've got that process in place, but it is not ideal for stability and planning, especially in our major defense acquisition programs, which I know aren't the major topic here. But as the CR relates to 25 across the Air Force, that's where we saw the biggest. We've got a $3 billion top line disconnect that we have to close based off of the CR compared to the president's budget. And that a large part of that is in research, development, test, and evaluation. We've got some MilPERS concerns that we are working very hard to protect, particularly in recruiting and accession pipelines. We believe, and we are on track today to meet our recruiting goals for FY25, and we're going to protect that at nearly all costs. there is the potential that it could have some negative effects on some of our rotational forces, permanent change of station, and things like that. But we have got to protect our ability to assess the best Americans that we.
The CR compromises that?
The CR puts at risk a percentage of the MilPERS budget that we have to close. It doesn't specifically help us in any of those areas. So it then comes to the Defense Department to mitigate.
If it doesn't help, does it hurt?
It is, CRs are unhelpful, sir, in general. So
Do they
we're-
hurt or they help?
We're working hard to protect those foundational parts of building our pipeline. We are very thankful for a congressional plus-up we got in the previous fiscal year to robust and grow our recruiting pipeline to the tune of nearly 500 new recruiters across the Air Force. And what we don't want to lose is that momentum. So today, we have got the largest delayed enlistment program. Basically, they're young Americans that are waiting to come into the Air Force. So we put them into this thing called the DEP. And our DEP numbers are as big as they've been in over a decade. We do not want to lose momentum there. It's critical to our ability to execute the national defense strategy.
You're very diplomatic. Yes, sir.
Sir, I get paid to execute the decisions you make.
Congressman, thanks for the question. And as I said in my opening comment, unfortunately, living under a CR is, over 51% of the time as a service has been in existence, we've been under a CR. But specifically to your question in 25, especially when it comes to quality of life, like there were improvements supposed to be made at the Peterson, one of the Peterson Child Development Centers, one at Patrick. And in 25, we're looking for money to start design phase, to put money against that. We're also supposed to start doing design work on dorm improvements at Buckley Space Force Base. As we're working through the reprogramming for the budget for 25, these are all things that could be put at risk. And this is why the stability of funding is so important to the planning phase to execute, especially when it comes to quality of life initiatives, to make sure we stay on time, on target, to deliver that quality of life to our service members.
Thank you. With that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.